The alien colony of Seralis 9 was a peaceful place, floating calmly under a purple sky with twin suns. It was known across the galaxy as a symbol of unity. Different alien species lived there, side by side. Among them were human families, settlers who had come from Earth to build a better life. They had small homes with gardens, children who played freely, and neighbors who spoke many languages. It was a quiet life, full of hope. That morning the sun was warm, and the air smelled like blooming crystal flowers. Laughter echoed in the open park near the housing zone. Human children and alien kids ran through the tall, soft grass, chasing small floating lights that changed color when touched. A human boy named Leo, only 6 years old, laughed as he raced with his alien friend, Kira, a blue-skinned girl with glowing eyes. No one had any fear. No one expected danger. Parents watched from benches, smiling. Life felt safe. Then, everything changed. It happened so fast. One moment there was laughter. The next, screams. Blinding white light exploded over the playground. The air burned hot. People turned their heads too late. The peaceful sky turned red with fire. Unknown machines, dark and silent, dropped from above without warning. They did not speak. They did not explain. They just opened fire. Children fell first. Leo saw his friend Kira disappear in front of him, her body turning to ash. Others screamed, trying to run, but there was nowhere to hide. A strange mist covered the ground, making it hard to breathe. Parents rushed forward, shouting their children's names, but the machine struck them down too. It was a massacre. A silence fell over the park after only minutes. Smoke covered the scene. The grass, once green and soft, was now blackened. The bright toys that floated in the air had fallen, broken and cracked. In the center of the chaos, small bodies lay still. Then, a weak sound broke the silence. A cry. Soldiers from the colony's peace force arrived too late. When they reached the playground, they found only one survivor. A little human boy, Leo, sat in the middle of the field. His face was covered in blood, his own and others. He shook with fear, unable to speak. In his small hand, he held a broken piece of his friend's toy. There were no enemy bodies. The machines were gone, as quickly as they had come. No one saw where they went. No cameras caught their arrival. It was as if ghosts had attacked and vanished into the air. Later, when the rescue team checked the area, they found something else. A symbol burned into the ground. 3 sharp lines with a circle in the center. No one recognized it. Not even the alien elders. But it wasn't just a mark. It was a message. The next day, Earth received a transmission. It wasn't sent through normal channels. It came from an unknown source hidden in the galaxy. The voice was cold and full of hate. Stay in your place, or more will die. Humanity was shocked. News of the slaughter spread fast. Videos of the destroyed park, the burned ground, and the crying boy were seen on every screen. People across Earth watched in horror as images of small human children, lifeless and broken, flashed before their eyes. Questions exploded. Who did this? Why the children? Why no warning? No one had answers. The alien council in charge of Seralis 9 claimed they had no knowledge of the attack. They said no known species used the strange machines. But many humans didn't believe them. They whispered that maybe, just maybe, someone wanted humans to leave the galaxy, or stay quiet forever. In the shadows of Earth's highest command center, a man named Commander Reyes watched the footage alone. His jaw was tight, and his eyes were cold. He had seen war, but this was something different. This was a message. One meant to break the human spirit, but it had done the opposite. He stood up slowly and said only one thing to his team. They wanted to scare us. They just woke the wrong species. The quiet colony that once stood for peace had become the place where something terrible began. And deep in the hearts of humans, something had been lit. A fire that would not stop until the truth was found, and justice was served. The killers had tried to send a message, but they forgot what happens when humans decide to send one back. Earth was not the same after the attack. The news had reached every home, every screen, every heart. People cried, people screamed, and people got angry. Pictures of the dead children were shared across the galaxy. No one could forget their small faces, so full of life one day and gone the next. The name Seralis 9 was now spoken with pain and rage. In Earth's main command center, deep underground, the leaders of humanity gathered. Men and women in uniforms stood in silence as the video played once again. The footage was clear, the laughter, the explosion, the blood. Everyone stared at the screen, fists tight, eyes red. No one spoke until the video ended. Commander Reyes stepped forward. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had fought many battles in space and had seen death before. But this was something different. He looked around the room and said in a calm, steady voice, "This was not an accident. This was a warning." One general asked, "From who?" Reyes answered, "I don't know yet, but I will find out. And when I do, they'll wish they had never touched a single human child." The room fell silent again. Then Reyes gave a single order: activate Project Iron Veil. Across Earth and nearby colonies, hidden military teams began to move. Ships that hadn't flown in years were powered up. Secret weapons were brought out of deep storage. Special operatives disappeared from their posts. No one knew where they were going. It didn't matter. Earth was preparing for something big. At the same time, a message was sent to the Galactic Council, a group of leaders from different alien species who claimed to protect peace in the galaxy. The message was short, but clear. Return the ones who did this. You have 72 hours. Or, we will bring fire to your skies. The council was shocked. Many of them laughed at the message. Humans are overreacting, they said. They are emotional, they'll calm down. But others were not so sure. Some remembered the old human wars. Some had read the history books, books that told of Earth's terrible strength when pushed too far. On a distant planet, an alien historian named Sareth spoke to her students. "Do not take humans lightly," she warned. "When they feel pain, they do not forget, and when they are angry, they do not stop." But many still didn't believe the warning. Back on Earth, Commander Reyes visited the hospital where the only survivor from the attack was kept. The boy, Leo, sat on a bed wrapped in a soft blanket. He hadn't spoken much since the attack. His eyes were empty. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, only stared at the wall. Reyes sat beside him. "I know it hurts," he said gently, "but you're not alone." Leo didn't answer. But after a few minutes, he slowly turned his head and opened his hand. Inside it was a small burned piece of metal. It had a strange symbol on it, 3 sharp lines and a circle in the center. It was the same symbol found burned into the ground at the attack site. Reyes took the piece carefully. He looked at Leo and asked, "You found this there?" Leo nodded just once. That was all Reyes needed. Back in the command room, Reyes placed the metal on the table. His scientists scanned it. "Unknown alloy," one said. "Not used by any official species in the council." Another added, "This design, it doesn't match anything in the known databases." Reyes stared at the symbol for a long time. Then he said quietly, "They made a mistake. They left us a trail." From that moment, Reyes began his hunt. He sent out silent signals to human spies across the galaxy. He called in favors from old allies. He followed whispers in black markets and hidden corners of space. One thing was clear to him now. Someone out there feared humanity. Feared what humans might become. And that someone had decided to send a bloody message to keep Earth quiet. But they had done the opposite. Reyes stood once again before Earth's leaders. "We will not wait. We will not beg. We gave them a chance to do the right thing. If they don't return the killers in 72 hours, we will show the galaxy what it truly means to wake a sleeping giant." No one in the room disagreed. The countdown had begun, and somewhere out there, the ones who had attacked the children were watching, waiting, and perhaps beginning to feel fear. Because Earth was no longer grieving. Earth was preparing for war. Time was running out. The 72-hour deadline was now halfway over, and still, the Galactic Council gave no answer. They sent polite messages, saying they were investigating and looking into the matter. But Commander Reyes knew those words meant nothing. The Council was stalling. They didn't want war, but they also didn't want to take responsibility. Earth wasn't waiting. Deep in space, far from any colony, a black ship moved silently through the stars. It had no name, no ID number, and no visible weapons, but it was one of Earth's deadliest tools. On board were 10 highly trained operatives. They called themselves the Ghost Team. No face, no fame, just missions. Their job, track down the symbol found at the playground attack. They had one lead. On the edge of a mining system called Virex 4, a shady trader was known to sell rare metals, including unknown alloys, just like the one found in Leo's hand. The Ghost Team landed quietly, moving like shadows through the city. It was a dirty, noisy place full of crime and secrets, perfect for hiding dark things. Inside a dim room filled with old machine parts, the trader sat behind a thick screen. He had 6 arms and green skin, and he laughed when he saw the humans. "Earth's dogs," he said. "You came far for metal." One of the humans stepped forward and placed the metal piece on the table. The symbol glowed faintly under the light. "Where did this come from?" she asked. The trader smiled. "Why should I tell you?" The human pulled out a small black cube and placed it beside the metal. It flashed once, full payment. The trader's eyes widened. He leaned closer. "I don't know who made it," he said softly. "But I've seen it before. Sold to a group called the Ashen Hand. Very secret, very dangerous. They hate the Council. Hate humans more." "Where can we find them?" The trader hesitated. Then, slowly, he slid a datapad forward. "They move a lot. But last I heard, they're hiding near the dark side of Trivar 6. No one goes there. Radiation storms." The humans took the pad, nodded once, and vanished. Back on Earth, Reyes received the location. He marked it silently. "Find out everything about this Ashen Hand," he ordered. "Who they are, what they want, who helps them." In the shadows of the council chambers, tension was rising. Some council members were angry at Earth's actions. "They are threatening peace," one alien shouted. "They act without approval," but others stayed quiet. A few were nervous. They had heard the old stories, how humans once burned their own planet in war, how they had rebuilt from ashes, how they had survived where others would have died. Some even remembered the Battle of Karen 7, where a single human fleet held off 5 alien armies for 2 days without retreat. One silent council member, an elder named Vosith, spoke for the first time in years. "We must not test them," he said. "The last species that tried no longer exists." Still, the majority ignored the warning. They believed humans were bluffing. Back on Trivar 6, the Ghost Team arrived. The planet was cold, with broken skies and wild radiation storms. Nothing grew there. It was dead, silent, except for one thing: a hidden base deep under the surface. The Ashen Hand. The humans moved in slowly, using stealth suits. What they found inside shocked them. There were weapons. Lots of them. Ships ready for launch. And videos, training programs that showed fighters practicing how to kill humans. The walls were marked with the same symbol, 3 sharp lines in a circle. The Ashen Hand wasn't just a group. It was an army. The Ghost Team planted trackers on every ship and copied all files. But before they could leave, something went wrong. A camera spotted one of them. Alarms rang out. Red lights flashed. The humans ran. They fought their way out with silenced guns and sharp blades, never stopping. One was injured but refused to fall behind. As they reached their ship, enemy fire burned through the sky. But the humans escaped. Barely. When they returned to the command center, Reyes looked at the files. He saw names, faces, plans, and most of all, A video message. It showed the leader of the Ashen Hand, a tall alien in a dark robe, standing before a crowd. "Humans are spreading like a disease," the leader said. "They take, they build, they conquer. They act like they belong among stars. But they do not. We will show them their place. We will break their spirit, starting with their children." Reyes paused the video, his jaw clenched. Now, he knew the truth. This was never about warning. It was never about control. It was hate. And hate would now meet something far more dangerous. Human rage. The countdown was nearly over. Earth was no longer asking. Earth was coming. The final hours of the 72-hour deadline were ticking away. On Earth, the skies above the planet filled with massive warships. From every continent, carriers rose like giants, silent and heavy with weapons. These were not just for show, they were loaded, fueled, and ready for war. Humanity had made its decision. The Galactic Council had failed to respond. The killers had not been returned. Now Earth would strike. In the command center, Commander Reyes stood before a large screen. Behind him were generals, admirals, and intelligence officers. In front of him was the path to vengeance. He had all the data now. Names, locations, targets. The Ashen Hand had training camps on 5 different planets. Reyes would hit them all at once. "This is not a war against a species," Reyes told the room. "This is a war against an enemy that hides behind shadows and kills children. We are not going to destroy innocent lives, but we will leave no safe place for the Ashen Hand to hide." The operatives around him nodded in silent agreement. At the same time, news spread across human colonies. People left messages at shrines, lit candles for the lost children, and prayed, not for peace, but for justice. The pain had become a fire in every human heart. Soldiers boarded their ships with grim faces. Pilots ran last checks. Drones lifted into the sky. Everyone knew this mission wasn't about politics. It was personal. On a moon called Yara 3, one of the Ashen Hand training sites was busy preparing for another batch of young fighters. These were not trained soldiers. They were angry youth, taken from broken planets and taught to hate humans. Inside the base, their leader laughed when he heard Earth's threat. "Let them come," he said. "Humans are soft. They cry over children. We will show them what real pain looks like." But he didn't know what was already on the way. Exactly. At the 72-hour mark, Earth launched its attack. It wasn't loud at first, it was quiet, fast, and surgical. On Yara 3, human stealth ships appeared above the sky like ghosts. Drones dropped silently through clouds. They didn't fire first. They just watched, confirmed targets, and moved into place. Then at 0600 Earth time, Reyes gave the order. Execute Operation Burning Light. In one instant, 5 planets lit up across the galaxy. On Yara 3, EMP pulses shut down all power inside the base. Lights went out, doors locked, guns stopped working. Before the fighters inside could understand what was happening, the humans moved in. They came like shadows, swift, quiet, precise. They didn't shoot randomly. Every bullet found its target. Every hand knew its job. They used stun weapons, traps, and non-lethal force where possible. But those who raised weapons against them were taken down without mercy. Within minutes, the Yara 3 camp was under Earth's control. On another planet, Tranar 5, the Ashen Hand base was hidden deep inside a mountain, but Earth had learned its layout from the stolen files. Human bombers flew above the clouds and dropped bunker-piercing explosives. The mountain shook. The entrance collapsed. Anyone trying to escape was met by fire from above. In space, the rest of the galaxy watched in shock. Alien news channels covered the attacks live. Some called Earth dangerous. Others said it was justice. But everyone agreed on one thing. They had never seen humans like this. Not wild, not loud, just cold and unstoppable. In the Galactic Council chambers, fear replaced pride. The same leaders who once laughed at Earth now sat in silence. Some argued that Earth had no right to act alone. Others whispered to each other, asking, What if they come for us next? The council leader, a tall creature with golden skin, looked around and said, "We ignored them. We let the killers walk free. Now we face the price of that silence." Back on Earth, Reyes watched the mission feeds. One by one, his teams reported in. All 5 bases secure. Main leaders of the Ashen Hand captured or confirmed dead. No civilian deaths. No celebration followed. Only quiet. Reyes turned off the screen and sat down for the first time in days. The pain was still there. The image of the playground. The bodies of children, but now it sat beside something else. Justice. Still, something was bothering him. The Ashen Hand was big, yes, but someone had helped them. Someone had funded them, trained them, protected them in secret. This wasn't over. He looked at the burnt metal symbol again, now sitting in a glass case. It was more than just a clue. It was a warning. Someone powerful still stood in the shadows, and Earth would find them, because now the galaxy knew what humanity would do when its children were harmed, and the war was just beginning. After the swift and brutal strikes against the Ashen Hand, Earth's leaders hoped the worst was over. But Commander Reyes knew better. The Ashen Hand had been only a part of a much larger plan. Someone else was behind the scenes, someone powerful, patient and dangerous. Back in the command center, Reyes met with his top intelligence officers. They pored over intercepted communications and secret transmissions. Most were encrypted, but one message stood out. It was short, cold, and sent just after the attacks. "Your war has just begun. You will regret every step." No name, no signature. Just a warning. Reyes clenched his fists. "Find out who sent this," he ordered, "and find out fast." Meanwhile, on a luxury space station far from Earth, a shadowy figure watched news reports of the attacks. The figure was wrapped in a dark cloak, face hidden by a mask. A soft voice came through a nearby speaker. "The humans act quickly." "Too quickly," a deep, cold voice replied. "They do not yet understand the full power we control." The figure removed the mask. A pale face stared back, sharp eyes filled with cruel intelligence. This was Valcor, a high-ranking member of the Galactic Council who secretly supported the Ashen Hand. Valcor had long believed humans were a threat to the galaxy's balance. Now he would make sure they paid the highest price. Back on Earth, Leo, the young survivor, was slowly healing. Though quiet, he had begun to speak again, mostly in short words, sometimes just names. One name stood out. Valcor. Reyes listened, carefully. "You know him?" he asked softly. Leo nodded barely. Bad. Reyes knew Leo was right. Valcor was dangerous. Reyes decided to act. He sent a small team of trusted agents on a secret mission to the space station where Valcor was hiding. Their goal: capture him before he could organize another attack. The agents arrived disguised as merchants. The station was beautiful and full of life. Shops, gardens, luxury homes. But the air was heavy with tension. They moved carefully through the crowds, always watching for guards. In a hidden room deep inside the station, Valcor met with other conspirators. They spoke quietly. About Earth's attack, they called it reckless and dangerous. But they also planned their next move, a secret weapon that could destroy entire colonies in hours. One agent slipped closer, recording everything. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Someone had noticed the intruders. The agents fought their way out, racing through crowded halls. Valcor's men tried to stop them, but the agents were well trained and fast. They escaped with the recording and one more thing, a small device with strange symbols. Back on Earth, the device was studied carefully. Scientists discovered it was a kind of bomb, powered by energy no one had seen before. It could destroy entire planets silently without warning. Reyes called the leaders again. "We have proof. Valcor and his allies are planning genocide." The room grew silent. "We cannot wait," Reyes said firmly. "We must stop them before they strike." Earth prepared again, this time for a larger battle. As ships moved into position, Leo spoke again. "I want to help," he said quietly. Reyes smiled. "You already have, kid. You helped us find the truth." But deep inside, Reyes knew the fight ahead was the hardest yet. The galaxy was changing, and humanity would face enemies that hid in darkness, ready to destroy everything they loved. But one thing was certain: humans did not give up. They fought, with everything they had, because they were fighting for their future, and for the future of all children. The war was no longer just about revenge. It was about survival. The galaxy held its breath as Earth prepared for the battle to come. Ships gathered like a storm, dark silhouettes against the stars. Soldiers loaded their weapons, engineers checked every system, and commanders planned every move. This was no longer a simple fight. It was a war for survival. Commander Reyes stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the stars glide by. His mind was heavy with worry. Valkor's plan was dangerous beyond anything they had seen. The secret weapon could destroy whole colonies. If they failed to stop it, countless lives would be lost. "Commander," his second-in-command said, "we have located Valkor's main base. It's hidden in the Veil Nebula, deep inside a massive asteroid field." Reyes nodded. "Good. That's where we strike first." The fleet moved carefully through the dense asteroid field. Flying here was like walking through a maze of giant rocks. One wrong move, and they would be crushed. The enemy knew this, and Valkor's ships waited, hidden and ready. Suddenly, the silence broke. Explosions shook the fleet. Enemy fighters burst from behind asteroids, firing lasers and missiles. The battle had begun. Humans fought fiercely. Pilots dodged and weaved, their ships spinning through space like dancers in a deadly ballet. Missiles streaked across the blackness. Explosions lit up the sky. But the enemy was strong. Valkor's forces were well-trained and ruthless. They used every trick to slow the humans down: electronic attacks, traps, and surprise ambushes. One by one, ships fell. The fleet took heavy damage. Inside the flagship, Reyes stood firm. He gave orders quickly and calmly. "Deploy shield drones to the left flank. Prepare boarding teams for the enemy carrier. We must take that ship down." In the chaos, a message came through from Leo. "Commander, I'm ready. Send me in." Reyes hesitated but then nodded. "Leo, you're a survivor. Use that strength, but be careful." Leo's small ship launched into the fight. His heart raced, but his mind was sharp. He remembered the playground, the children, and the promise they made to protect their future. He flew through enemy fire, dodging and weaving, until he reached the carrier. The boarding teams followed him inside. The carrier was a maze of dark corridors and heavy doors. The humans moved silently, using every skill they had learned. They found soldiers ready to fight, but the humans were faster, stronger, and smarter. Meanwhile, outside, the main battle raged on. Ships crashed into each other, lighting up the void with fire and smoke. The humans pushed forward, refusing to give an inch. Inside the carrier, Leo found Valkor. The leader was waiting, calm and cold. "You think you can stop me, boy?" Valkor sneered. "You are nothing but a child." Leo stood tall. "I'm not just a child, I'm human. And humans never give up." The fight was quick but fierce. Leo used everything he had learned: his speed, his courage, and his sharp mind. Valkor's guards fell one by one. Finally, Leo faced Valkor himself. The battle was close. Valkor was strong, but Leo was faster. With a final move, Leo knocked the weapon from Valkor's hand and tied him up. Outside, the fleet heard the news. Valkor captured, enemy morale breaking. The battle turned. Valkor's forces began to retreat. The humans pressed forward, destroying the secret weapons control center. The bomb was stopped, disabled before it could fire. As the fleet left the asteroid field, Reyes looked at Leo with pride. "You did well," he said. Leo smiled, tired but happy. "We all did." The war was not over yet, but this victory gave hope. Humanity had shown its strength, not just in weapons, but in heart. The galaxy would never forget the day humans fought back. Because in the darkest times, hope shines the brightest. And humanity's light was just beginning to burn. After the battle in the Veil Nebula, peace did not come quickly. The galaxy was still tense. Many wondered if the war was truly over or just beginning again. But on Earth, people felt something new, a quiet hope. Commander Reyes stood outside the command center, looking up at the stars. He thought about the children who had died, the families torn apart, and the courage of those who fought. Leo, the young survivor, had become a symbol of hope and strength for all humans. Leo was still healing from his wounds. He spent time with other children who had lost families or homes. Though small, he spoke often about courage and forgiveness. "We fight because we love," he told them, "but we must also learn to heal." Earth's leaders met with the Galactic Council. After months of talks, many agreed to new rules to protect all children in the galaxy, no matter what planet they came from. The Ashen Hand was broken, and Valkor was in custody, facing justice for his crimes. Still, the future was uncertain. Some aliens feared humans, seeing their power and determination as a threat. Others respected them, knowing that humans fought, not for power but for life itself. Reyes knew this was just the start. "We must be ready," he told his officers. "The galaxy is vast. There will always be threats, but humans will always stand strong." Leo looked out at the stars one evening, feeling the quiet wind on his face. He thought of the playground, the laughter, the sunshine, and the friends he had lost. But he also felt the strength of humanity inside him. "We will protect our future," he whispered, "no matter what." The war had taken much, but it had also given something powerful, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope and courage could shine through, and humanity was ready to face whatever came next, because they were survivors, fighters, and above all, they were family. The stars looked bright that night, shining for all who dreamed of peace. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the message was clear. Humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay. After the trial of Valkor, the galaxy thought the worst was over. But Commander Reyes knew the truth. Valkor was only one piece in a much larger puzzle. There were still others, hidden deep in the shadows, who wanted to see humanity fall. The Ashen Hand had been broken, but the threat to peace was far from finished. On Earth, scientists worked day and night. They studied the strange bomb device and found secrets that scared even the bravest minds. The weapon was part of a bigger technology, one that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. If it fell into the wrong hands, many worlds could be destroyed in minutes. Reyes called for a meeting with the Galactic Council. "We cannot wait for war to come to us again," he said. "We must find the source of this technology and stop it before it spreads." The Council agreed to form a special task force made up of humans and trusted aliens to hunt down the remaining enemies. Reyes was chosen to lead the mission. The team traveled to a distant system called the Shadow Veil. It was a dangerous place, full of abandoned space stations and forgotten planets. The team searched for clues about who was behind the weapons. One night, Leo joined the team. He had grown stronger and braver. "I want to help," he said. "If I can stop even one child from dying, I will try." Reyes smiled. "We need your courage, Leo." The search led them to an old factory on a small, dark planet. The factory was hidden beneath thick clouds and guarded by robotic sentries. The team moved carefully, using stealth and speed to avoid detection. Inside the factory, they found a secret lab filled with strange machines and glowing crystals. These crystals were the power source for the deadly weapons. Suddenly, alarms blared. The team was trapped. Enemies appeared, masked soldiers who fought with skill and fury. The battle was fierce, with lasers flashing and explosions shaking the building. The humans and aliens fought side by side, protecting each other. Leo ran ahead and found a control room. He quickly disabled the factory's main power source, causing the machines to shut down. The enemy soldiers retreated, confused and angry. With the factory destroyed, the team sent proof back to the council. The weapon's power source was gone, and many enemies were captured. Reyes knew the war was far from over, but this victory was important. "We showed them that humans do not stand alone," he said. "We fight with friends, and together we are strong." The team returned to Earth as heroes. The galaxy began to change. Old enemies reached out for peace talks, hoping to avoid future wars. New alliances were formed. Leo looked up at the stars again. He thought of the playground, the children, and the long fight that had brought them here. "We will keep fighting," he said quietly. "But now, we fight for peace." Humanity had faced its darkest hour and had not broken. Instead, it had grown stronger. The future was still uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity's light would never go out, and the galaxy would never forget the day humans stood tall and changed the stars forever. The galaxy was quiet for the first time in years. The Great War had ended, but its memory stayed alive in the hearts of many. Commander Reyes stood on the deck of his ship watching distant stars twinkle like tiny fires. The battle was over, but the future was still a mystery. Leo, now older and wiser, walked beside Reyes. He was no longer the scared child who had survived the massacre on the playground. He had become a symbol of hope and courage for all humans, and aliens alike. "Do you think the galaxy will ever be truly safe?" Leo asked softly. Reyes looked at him and smiled. "Safety is a journey, not a place. We must always be ready to protect what we love." Around them, people worked together. Humans and aliens building new cities, sharing knowledge, and learning from each other. The wounds of war were healing, slowly but surely. One day, a new message came from the Galactic Council. They invited humans to join as full members, with a voice in decisions about peace and war. It was a sign of respect, a recognition of humanity's strength and heart. At a grand ceremony, Reyes and Leo stood proudly as Earth's flag was raised among the stars. Leaders from many worlds applauded. The long fight for survival had led to something greater: friendship and trust. Leo thought of the children on the playground, their laughter that was stolen but never forgotten. "We fight so that no child will ever lose their home or their friends," he said quietly. Reyes nodded. "And we fight so that hope lives on no matter how dark the night." As the ceremony ended, Leo looked up at the sky. The stars shone, brighter than ever, lighting the path forward. Humanity's story was just beginning. They had faced darkness and pain, but they had also shown the universe the true meaning of strength: courage, kindness, and never giving up. The galaxy had learned this truth. Humans may be young among the stars, but their spirit was fierce and unbreakable, and as long as that spirit burned bright, no enemy could ever defeat them, because humans fought not just with weapons but with heart, and that made all the difference.